In this video, we will go over how to use the Aggregate tool in our spatial products. The Aggregate tool allows you to aggregate data from one layer into another. This is usually from a points layer, such as this outlets layer that I have showing in blue here, to an area layer, such as the provinces layer that you can see showing in the background. The tool allows you to aggregate on some value within your point data into certain areas. So in this example, I want to aggregate on a certain column in my retail outlets data. If I bring up its data grid, you'll see it has various columns here in its attribute data. And the one that I want to get an aggregation for is the total volume column. So I would like to get an aggregation of the total volume of all outlets that lie within each separate province. To do that, we will use the Aggregate tool. As I bring it up, this dialog comes up. First thing we choose is the layer that we're going to aggregate from, which in this case is the retail outlets layer. Then we choose the layer that we're aggregating to, which is the area layer. And in this case, it's the provinces layer. Next thing we choose is the field that we want to get an aggregation on in our point data. In this case, it is the total volume field. Then we choose the type of aggregation we want. You can do sum, average, maximum, minimum, etc. In this case, I want a sum of the total volume, so I'll choose that. Then under new name, the name of the new column that will be added to your area layer with the aggregated values is populated here for you by default. You can change this if you want. I will take the default of total volume sum. Finally, you can choose whether to do a proportional aggregation or not. Now, what a proportional aggregation is if you're aggregating from one area layer into another area layer. So for example, if I had suburb layer showing the suburbs lying in the different provinces, if I wanted to aggregate from the suburbs to the provinces, I could do a proportional aggregation, meaning it would only aggregate the exact part of each suburb shape that falls within each province and not more. In this case, I'm doing points to an area layer, so it will not apply here. Finally, if I only wanted to do an aggregation on selected elements only, then I would first select them with one of the selection tools here, and then I could tick on selected only, and only selected outlets would be aggregated. In this case, I want to do an aggregation on all my outlets into each province area. I can then choose more fields that I would like to aggregate on in my point data and do various other aggregations with them. In this case, I'm not going to. I'm just going to choose this one for this demonstration. I'm now ready to do my aggregation. I can then click Aggregate. The aggregation is complete. I then go to my area layer, which is the provinces layer, and view its data. And we see that a new column has been added for me called total volume sum with all the aggregated values of the total volume of all the outlets that lie within each province area. So for example, for Eastern Cape, the total aggregated volume of the outlets there is that amount, for Free State, that amount, and so on. That is all for this demonstration. Thank you.